Hi guys, and welcome to our second part with Julia and Sarah today. We're going to cut this episode because the first one was really long, so this is just like a quick introduction into the second one, so please go listen to the first episode to really get the full picture. The second episode is going to be about the question, what is sexy? But the first one was about basically your career, how you got where you are today, all of that stuff. So also about LA.
Yep. Don't miss it.
Yes, check that out as well, definitely, to get the full picture. And we're gonna jump into the episode directly. Okay, the big topic we actually want to talk about. After the long introduction. No, so we want to talk a little bit about the question, what is sexy? And I think that's like a thing that is, when it comes to heel stands and the whole assumptions and expectations and stereotypes around it, whatever, judgments, yes. What does it mean to be sexy, and especially with dancing in the heels way, what is it for you?
So I think first a disclaimer, of course, sexy comes in many different forms. Like sexy also means something else to everyone, you know what I mean? But for us, I think, for us, I think the most important thing that is connected to my sexuality and my sexy is my confidence. Like knowing who I am, and like, or just being content with yourself, you know what I mean? Just, you don't have to know who you are like fully to be sexy, that's not what I'm saying, but like also loving yourself and feeling sexy and confident in your flaws, like in everything that you are. So if you are confident, I feel like that's the most sexy to me. If you know who you are, if you know what you want, if you know what you don't want, if you can accept your whole self. But yeah, it looks different. And I think for most people, they think sexy and they think like loud, like out there, like the very much like just in general, like I think where you have to start before like you even feel confident in being sexy, it's like just analyzing that word in general. Like if you say sexy, usually it already immediately triggers something. It's like a word that has a lot of triggers connected to it. So it's like, for me, first of all, and sorry for that I am cutting you off, but I think that's for me like the first part before speaking about confidence, like uncovering or maybe unlearning. What's like taking all the layers away. Like, what does that word mean to me, and not what does the word mean to like a 50-year-old person, man, douchebag. You know what I mean? So it's like, of course, like every word has a social meaning, like a general, like in a dictionary, if you would like look up the word sexy, I never did it, but I'm sure there's a definition for it. But it's like, doesn't mean that there has to be your definition. So I think for us, it's important to unlearn and to like make it not feel so scary. If it's something that feels scary to you, like, oh my god, sexy, like already, I don't know, feels scary to me. I don't know what that means, like, or maybe I know what that means, but I'm not that.
That's what I've heard a lot of people say, like when I talk with them about heels dancing and like, you know, like talking dancer dancing, they're like, oh, I didn't start heels dancing because, you know, like I'm not sexy. And I'm like, why you say that? Why do you say, you know, like this? And me looking at this girl being like, you're so gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, I do think that's how I wanted to start. I do think it comes from a lot of confidence in general. But yeah, what Sarah said, I think the term and the word by itself maybe has more of a negative association. Maybe also growing up, you know, us, especially as women, we're always told like, yeah, you can be sexy, but not too much, because then it, there's like a boundary. There's like a there's like rules. A limit. Yeah, there's like rules around the word, like or like also the good girl image. Like we always growing up, like you have to be a good girl in a way, and so anything that goes beyond that is almost like taboo-ish or like selfish or like you know. So for us, I think we want to take the power back, and we want to almost give like permission to other women or men that come into our classrooms to be sexy, like fully, like whatever way of expressing that, if that's like wearing a thong or like almost wearing nothing, like being almost naked and grinding on the floor, or if it's like wearing a baggy outfit, and or if it's like putting a full face of makeup, whatever it is to you, because everyone, you know, has different like types of sexy, but like own that and like unapologetically like be that in the class, and then slowly we would hope for you to like slowly, you know, dribble that into your life as well. So because most of the women that come into our classes, they don't start like feeling super confident. They don't, some of them do, but most of them don't. And so I think we give them permission in our classes to explore that side about themselves, and then slowly they become more confident in life, which is beautiful to see, you know, because we don't want to just escape, right? We don't want to just use the class just as an escape and then come back home and be miserable. We do want to see it as like a healing aspect. And so
if you're like a person that maybe doesn't already like feel super sexy naturally, you have to do the work first. It won't just come by accident to you to like figure out what sexy means to you. Like you have to ask yourself questions, and because sometimes also like we want to be sexy, but we also still judge others for being sexy.
Maybe also a little jealousy.
So it's like sometimes like it can. That's why I'm saying like ask yourself questions, so then you can like realize like what's really the problem, you know. Because I see it so many times. People want to be sexy, but there's judging others, but also themselves. Also themselves, they're like still like, oh my god, why am I doing this? Like I'm still judging myself, but then they really want to be. So first of all, you have to stop judging yourself for being a sexual being, for wanting to be sexy, whatever it is, and like of course others. But if you don't judge yourself, you will never judge someone else. That's my opinion. But yeah, like just maybe also redefining that word, just using maybe a different word. Like you don't even have to say sexy. You know, there's so many different ways to express that feeling. Like you could say sensual, I don't know, you could say confident, you could say happy, you could say successful, you could say smiley, you could say flirty, you could say bossy, you could say sexual, sassy. I don't know, there's so many ways you can. I actually personally really like sensual too. But again, like it's just up to you, like what makes you feel good and what makes you feel more connected to like your kind of sexy.
I think there's also a saying, like a quote that says sexy is an energy, not a body type, or like do you know that? Do you know that quote?
I don't know that one, but I totally agree on
that.
Yeah.
So I think that's also like tea, because and that's why we also include a lot of spirituality and like soulful warm-ups in our classes. We always do something that's called a soul warm-up, because I do believe that you have to activate all of those parts inside, because it is an energy. Like being sexy is an energy. It's not something that you necessarily only get by wearing like a great outfit. It is something that can help you, but it's not something that will give it to you instantly, because I can definitely tell if someone is confident and sexy, like feeling sexy inside, or if they're just faking it by putting on an outfit. And so, yeah, it's an energy that you have to activate, and this is why like it's a huge part in our classes to be soulful about it, to be aware about it, to work on it, because you can't just want to be sexy and like be sexy. You have to ask yourself the questions, you have to set your intentions, you have to put yourself into that mindset, into that energy. Like you have to be a vibrational match, you know what I mean? So, and this is like the work that you have to do, because like I said, we don't want to fake it. We don't, you know what I mean? We want to be authentic in our sexiness, and yeah, it just takes time. But over the years, we've seen like a lot of people become so confident in themselves, and I think that's the rewarding part of our work, because we get to see it. So that's really beautiful.
Yeah. And maybe to draw from our own personal experience, because you mentioned the good girl energy or image. Yeah. I would like to say that it's not connected to being sexy, because for both of us, when we started to dance in a heel, which we all know was later because we started with ballet and then ended up in a heel, even though we were like already dancing in a heel, and we were already feeling sexy. I mean, of course, like we were maybe not fully confident yet, maybe not fully knowing who we are as individuals, but still like we had this
inner knowingness,
inner maybe already sexiness that made us feel okay to be sexy. So some women have it like naturally, some women maybe don't. Maybe some women are naturally like super feminine or okay with being feminine, and others maybe they find it harder or can't really identify. So again, it's very individual, but for us, yeah, we did have like a natural sexiness about us which felt okay to show. And so we were like dancing in a heel, and like if you were to compare it to the good girl like in life, we were virgins. So we did not have any sexual experience. So and that's why I'm saying like it doesn't have to be connected to if you're dancing sexy, like what are you doing in the bedroom? You know what I mean? Of course it can and it will, you know, like of course it is connected too if you want to connect it. But I think it's just another stereotype that I would love to break through my story. To, you know, you don't have to even have sex to be sexy. Yes. That I think that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, you don't have to have sex to be able to dance in a heel and actually look good doing it, you know. It's like you don't learn those moves in the bedroom and then you bring it to the class, you know what I mean? Of course you can. I'm not saying like there's a right or wrong, but I think it's just a stereotype that that might be here. Yeah, I think personally it doesn't have to be connected, but it can be. I hope that makes sense. I'm also not that girl that's like it's not connected at all. Like that's also not what I'm saying. Because of course, like as you make your experiences with sex, of course it can influence the way you feel sexy, you know, because that's also authentic. But it also doesn't matter if you're like a freak in the sheets or if you're like having super vanilla sex. Like you can still be a freak on the dance floor. Like it doesn't have to be like just because you look super freaky when you dance, like it does not mean that you're a slut. I think that's also like what I want to say. It doesn't mean that you doesn't mean that you need to be even sexual at all. Like that's like how big this topic is and like how many misconceptions there are. So because I actually like back then a lot of people used to have that image of us like, oh my god, they're like bitches, they're like whatever names you want to say. And I used to laugh always and be like, oh my god, if you only knew that I'm a virgin. Like if you only knew, like surprise, I guess, another surprise. Yes. So
by the way, not a virgin anymore.
Nah, not a virgin anymore, but it's like, yeah, whatever you are, you can be sexy, you can find your own sexiness. And I think for me that was even more of a confirmation that I was doing it for myself and not to please a man or like please, because I was a virgin by choice. Okay, it was not, you know, I really wanted to be one, so it was not like I was subconsciously dancing to like lure someone in. Like it was really because I wanted to do it for myself and because I naturally always felt sexy. And so maybe that's a confirmation to also why you're doing it, to ask yourself why do I want to take a heels class, even though there's also nothing wrong if you're like your man is saying, oh my god, maybe that could spice it up for us, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but again, it has to feel good for you too and not just for your man. So again, there's like no right or wrong, it's just all about your intention maybe. So yeah, I always did it for myself, and sometimes it's hard for people to not believe but like to understand, especially if you're talking to men maybe I mean it's just maybe they don't understand that feeling,
they don't.
So yeah, it's just we did it for ourselves, for our own healing sexiness. And then of course now when I'm, you know, dancing to Chris Brown, he's like, I'll fuck you in these sheets. Of course now I have more of a real life, for real, fuck you in the sheets kind of energy attached to it, which also, you know, can help with your authenticity, but it doesn't need to be that, you know. So
I think we should not forget at this point, like we grow up in a culture in Europe that is pretty uptight, pretty distant, and as soon as something is sexual, it's like you know, like and it's not. Again, we're back to Peru. Like Latin America is different when it comes to that, because they grow up differently. They have like a different
idea about
mindset, idea. Like their culture is different. They have a different distance when they talk to each other. You know, they give each other little kisses on the cheek when they say hello, even though they don't know each other. So it's like a different thing. And I think when we should not forget when we ask ourselves the question, "What is sexy?" to think about the aspect, how did I grow up? What was like, what expectations did maybe also my family, the society, the environment I grew up in give me, like, even like, did I go to a school that forbid me to show my shoulders, you know? Stuff like that.
There's layers and like extremes.
And that like influences you, you know? So I think that's also like, you should not forget about that. And I think that's also like, I can't even blame men, because they grow up like that. Somebody taught them to act like that. And they maybe don't know different. So maybe they also need to be educated more.
Yes.
You know? So only blaming them, like, there's no excuse for being shitty. Like, that's not what I'm saying, you know? But like, sometimes it's like, we shouldn't only call them out, but like educate the people in the next step and tell them, hey, you see, we have that sisterhood, and that's how it's working, you know? And
that's the thing. I do think like as women then very quickly put ourselves into like a victimized state. But what we actually should do is actually educate the men.
Exactly.
Because when we know, we have the power to educate other people. You know what I mean? So, because how are they supposed to know? They're not in my class. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, they don't know how it feels to why we do it, you know? So.
But also, yes, totally, of course. But also, I think there's a little bit of a factor in you that should just be like, not always wanting to, how do I explain this? Not or knowing that not everyone is always gonna get it, no matter how hard you try. No matter how hard you try to educate and to lead with a good heart and to have good intentions, not everyone is gonna get it. So, and being okay with that too, instead of like wanting to empower so bad that it's like everyone has to understand or else it feels wrong. Like, you have to be confident too, to know that not everyone's gonna get it, and that's fine, because at the end of the day, if you know that you're doing it for the right reasons and it feels good to you, then sometimes you just have to leave it too, and not get like angry or bitter about it.
Or literally leave. It's like literally leave people that don't get it, like, because I've also had girlfriends that have been in situations where the other person was like influencing them to maybe stop dancing because it was too sexy for them, and like that to me is a big red flag, big no-go. So if you so I do feel like if you're in a situation where you feel extremely empowered in your sexuality and you are like learning new things, unlearning old things, and like feeling you're stepping into your power, and you might have people around you that make you feel like that's not the right thing for you, sometimes I feel like you have to make a choice, because either you're like growing or you're like being stuck or like being held by someone else. And I know that sounds like super deep, but I've seen it happen, and I don't want people to, or like women to feel like they have to please someone else or someone else's like limitations or like ideas of what's right or wrong for them. And so I would say, like, if you're empowered, like, go after that, you know, because like you only will be so empowered like so many times in your life. So if that happens to you, like, go for that 100%, no matter what anyone is saying. Because if we would listen to what anybody is saying, we would not be here today. So
I mean, you have to listen to me. No,
I listen
you
to
don't.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't have to listen to anything that I'm saying. So
that's why we're all still here. No, so what you said before about like having the sisterhood, and I think like that's something that's really important to you, right? Bringing that into the classroom, not only between you two, right? So I often have the feeling like, I don't know why we have this in our society, but like often women are working against each other. Like you said before, like you're judging somebody else, but you think it's because you judge yourself. And I think that's like so sad that we actually do have that. And I love that you guys like really focus on this sisterhood aspect. Because I need to admit, guys, I've never been to a Power Proms class. That's like really bad to say. Yet. But I've trained with you. I was in a class, but not in a Power Proms class.
True.
But what I know, what friends of mine tell me, They always tell me like, oh my god, the energy is so nice, the support you get is so nice. Like seeing you guys in the videos of other people where you go like to hype them up. I love seeing that.
Yeah,
so nice.
we do. We've always been that way, and I think it is because we are sisters and we support each other. So it's like, of course, not like you're not my twin sister, but I can still like support you. Like you're still my sister. You know what I mean? So because we always had to share everything. It was never like a selfish anything about us growing up. So I do feel like we can all be sisters and all be supportive. And yes, like you said, we will scream for anyone in our classes. And it comes from a real place. Like it comes from a real authentic place where I want to see you win and I'm like happy to see you win.
And I think it's also because I just want to have fun. Like I just want it to be a good experience. So I will just go there. Like doesn't matter what. Like it's just, maybe it's also because I'm a super aware person and I'm also very emotional. So it's like I feel so much. And so it's like I just choose to be fun and to have fun and to empower each other because that's how I know I will have a better experience than, you know, everyone. At the end of the day, it's still like a community, like a group class. Like I'm not having a private with someone, even though I'm still like supporting you there. But it's like, yes, we're all there for like an individual purpose maybe. And it's also the most important to, of course, focus on yourself, especially if you want to, you know, get better in dance and like actually be there to actually dance and train. But we're also there for each other because I'm aware that we are like a group. All of a sudden we're a group. You're not alone anymore. And I think sometimes we're not aware that your energy matters. Sometimes we're like in a group of people and we're like, they can do the energy thing. They can be loud. I don't have to. And sometimes we think that it doesn't matter that we have our energy and we can share our energy because we think sweating it off. So sometimes we think it's okay. So and your energy matters so much. Like every single person in the room, it's like a concoction, like a mixture of everyone, and that determines the energy. And so another thing that I always say is that energy, of course from us, because of course we're like leading the class, but from every single individual, it's like what makes you come back. It's not necessarily my steps that are maybe that you think are so amazing and that's why you come back. Of course it all plays in, but I'm just saying like the energy that you felt from other people too, and maybe it was healing too because you're like all of a sudden, oh my god, females can be empowering. And so this energy that you guys are all creating individually together, it's like what makes you come back and want to be in this space. Especially maybe if you're not wanting to be a professional. Sometimes if you want to be a professional, sometimes you go to classes because you know it's good training. But like for some of us, we go to take class because we just want to be in a good environment. And so you come back because the energy is great from everyone, not just from me. And sometimes we're not aware that, you know, that matters. So
also, here's the tea.
Ooh, tea.
The tea. I feel like the tea is it's if you're a teacher, it's easy to love your students, right? It's not like if you're a teacher, it's easy to clap for your students, like yes, girl. But if you're a teacher, is it also easy for you to love and support another teacher? This is where real sisterhood and like where real woman empowerment comes in, because that's, I think, the harder thing to do, to love your peer, to support your peer, to not be threatened by
or
them.
your competition, whatever you want to call it.
Do you know what I mean? Like, because you will love your student always because they're your student, right? In a way, they're not your competition. In a way, they're not, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I do feel we are also those type of girls that support also other women that do the same thing that we do. We understand that in Vienna, maybe we have been one of the first ones to teach heels, but now like so many other women are doing it. And we support them still. You know, our class assistant, Sarah, if you're watching,
You better be fucking watching, girl.
she started like dancing with us in a heel. Like she's like, we're heels mamas. And so she started taking our class and then eventually also started teaching. And I could have been like super protective. I could have been like, why is she, whatever, you know, the case might be. But like, we are all supporting each other. It doesn't matter if you're my student. It doesn't matter if you come after me and you teach a heels class as well. So I think that's the real tea.
Yeah.
So
Like,
like
how
we-
real is your
Yeah.
woman empowerment really, or are you just clapping for your students?
Like I will shout out other heels teachers
Yeah.
who I think are amazing. Like I
Yeah.
will shout them out in my class, and like I will tell people like you don't just have to train power pumps. Like there's other teachers, and I will
Yeah.
name their names.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like
Doesn't matter if they come before or after me.
You know, I will also say take other styles. You know, try whatever. Like it's not just the heels thing in general. Like it's for me, it's like. It's just not, like you said, it's not just me, and it's not just like we can all win in a way, you know, like there's room for everyone, and I genuinely believe that, and I genuinely can say I don't feel threatened by anyone. Anyone, it doesn't matter who it is, I just don't feel threatened by that person. So it's just because I genuinely believe like everyone can do whatever the fuck they want to do, and it's like, you know, and also success is like so personally defined too. Like some person, you might think, oh my god, they're so successful, and then they would be like, oh my god, I'm not successful at all, or the other way around. So again, it's like knowing that too. We're all successful in our own ways, you know. So yeah.
No, I love how you guys said it, because actually, like in the last class that I gave, I was holding a whole speech about this topic, because I don't know, like for me, like to put each other was like, I think our community in generally would be so much more loving and open and welcoming if we start focusing on the human behind the dancer, rather than on the hierarchy that is built upon the skills somebody has or has not yet. Because I have to feel like, I know it's like a general cultural thing again, we have like a hierarchy way of thinking in Austria, you know, and I think it's getting less, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And obviously that's also feelable, visible in the dance scene. And it's like, why shouldn't we treat each other as human beings? Yes, we're all dancers, but why be like jealous, envious, or like whatever? Because yes, I might not be good in your thing, but I'm doing my thing, and I'm not maybe there yet, but I'm gonna get there. But that doesn't mean I can't do my thing now. You know?
Yeah.
So,
that's so true.
yes.
Yeah, and it's also, you know, just me, the fact saying like I don't feel threatened by anyone. Again, that could also be like triggering someone thinking like, oh my god, she thinks she's the best.
Exactly.
But it's
that's
like
not
that's why
it.
but that's why I explained it's. I think I'm
Yes.
not threatened because I genuinely feel like there's room for everyone. It's a different
Yes.
thing. It's not. I don't feel threatened because I'm better than you, kind of way. So it's like,
We might do the same thing, but we're still different people. So it's like,
Exactly,
like you can never be me and I can never be you.
Even
like
us too.
Shout out Valerie. Shout out Valerie. One time she said, I think it's such a good saying. She said, I can't sing like Mariah Carey, but Mariah Carey also can't sing like me. And that's literally a fact.
Yes.
Obviously, I sing way worse than her, but we don't have to like say that. It's just like she doesn't sing like me and I don't sing like her, you know? So it's...
And it's the same with the dance thing, and I think like it's often teaching and whatever is like the goal often for people or whatever, and it's like putting in position and people being like a little bit I don't know, like how you said, you're not like, you don't feel a competitive attitude towards another teacher, because you also would recommend people to go and try other styles, you know. And I think that's like really authentic. Let's not say authentic, but that's like really, you're not only caring about your business and getting your money together.
I'm not fearful, you know,
mean,
about
exactly.
stuff like this.
Yes. I mean, I'm also not saying that I never ever in my life felt a little bit of that emotion. Like, of course, like, of course, I know what it feels like to also maybe think competitive, you know, and, you know, we used to do competitive dance, like, for so many years, like, that alone, you know.
Yes.
So, yes, I do know what competition is, and I do know, like, how that can feel, but I just choose not to do it anymore. Sometimes, like, yes, of course, I will get maybe a thought, you know, I don't know, but then it's like, instantly it goes away from me, and sometimes it doesn't even come up anymore. So it's like, it also depends, but it's like, you know, I'm not sitting over here being like, oh my god, I'm such an amazing person, I never think a bad thought. Like, of course, you know. I'm also not always happy, I'm also sad sometimes, or angry, or whatever, like all the emotions.
That's part of life, right? You can't be happy and all the time.
It's just I choose, if I ever get a thought where I'm like kind of thinking a little bit competitive, I instantly can check myself, and I think that's maybe the difference. So I can instantly check myself and then remind myself that's not who you are, and so then I let it go. And so
Okay, let's come to our last point, kind of. I think it's our last point. If not, then correct me. We want to talk a little bit about, you know, like mentors.
Mm-hmm.
You already mentioned who you guys learned from, but why is it also important for you to mention it again? Like, what is the importance of telling people where you learned and all of that?
So firstly, let me mention who like our biggest mentors in dance, but also in life. And I feel like she is the only teacher in dance that we ever had that had all of those aspects, not just the how to dance, but also the how to be a human being.
The mental, spiritual
aspect was Bryn Nicole.
Is
Bryn Nicole. She has her own brand as well called Pumpfidence, and she is a heels choreographer, teacher, dancer from LA. And we have, of course, we have taken her classes like multiple times. We've also taken her intensive in LA once, and then later on during COVID she had like an online mentorship which we were a part for a few years. And she was always, or is, like the teacher that will tell you also about the soulful parts and the mental parts and how important that is, the importance of combining both. Like she's also one of the teachers that has influenced us a lot in how we teach, because
she's also one of the first teachers to even teach at places like Millennium back in the day. So she's like part of the OG heels teachers. So yeah.
So she influenced us heavily in doing a soul warm up, even though she has a different name for it. Like she calls it something different, and she has a different approach to it. It's not like copied, but it's very much influenced the soul warm up that we do. And it's because she made us realize how important it is to have all of those things inside and then express them to the outside. So again, it's not like a show that you put on. You're not necessarily an actor when you dance. It's something that you have to be first to then express. So essentially, if you want to be a confident dancer, you have to be a confident human first. You can't do it the other way, but it's never gonna feel really good. It's never gonna feel really like authentic and like healing in a way as well. So
yeah, I think it's because we also experienced her healing in some kind of way. It's not like, you know, someone advised us, you know, that's what girls want. That's what they want you to like have a pep talk with them. It's a good business idea or something like that. It was not that. It was because we experienced it on ourselves, and we felt how empowering it is at the end of the day, and maybe how until we had Bryn, how it was non-existent before in our training, and the moment we met Bryn, I would say we were already like dancing for so many years. And it felt like, oh my god, I wish I kind of knew this sooner kind of energy. So
yeah, and also why is it important to have mentors and to mention them is because, you know, so many people are like, you know, what other dance classes can I take, or like, I want to dance like you, whatever. And I think it's important to say where you learned all of the things. Because again, like, you don't have to only take my class. You can also take the classes from my mentors and from the people that I learned from to maybe get into like a similar direction that I'm currently in. So I think it's always really interesting, and can also help a lot in your journey to learn from your mentors, you know? Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys want to take some notes. I mean, I would say most of them are pretty known. But I would say like influences, mentors, I mean, of course there's levels to it, but just inspirations in general, I think for us would be like we said, Bryn Nicole, then Kira Harper, and we mentioned her before too, Melissa Barlow, she's like our sister inspiration. She like also like hugely like paved the way like for a quote unquote sexy heels dancer. So she also like encouraged us, almost like she was almost like, I would say she was like an angel that came along and like empowered us even more to like what we were already doing to like do it even more. So her, definitely Melissa Barlow, then also Cisco, of course, Cisco Ruelas. Who else?
I think those are mainly the ones that we were.
So those are the main ones who, you know, there's different reasons. Some of us really inspire us as choreography. You know, there's different reasons, you know, why they are inspiring to us. I mean, we have a relationship with all of them too. Maybe that's also why, you know, I'm very connected to them, because I know all of them on a personal level. Like, I'm not saying I'm like super friends with them, but there were like multiple occasions where we like got to know them personally too. So yeah, those are like our inspirations, and I will always say, you know, I don't feel, again, I think it comes back to like the confidence thing in a way. I will never feel weird to like say who I'm inspired by, who I learned from, because I think it's important. It's also education in a way, because I would never want someone to think that it's me and I'm here and it's like I'm the first to do it, kind of, you know. So yeah, there's like, even if you don't admit it, there's always someone who inspires you.
Yes.
And so of course there's like a full like real like heels history too, of course, but we don't have to get into that. You can just Google that and educate yourself in that way. Like who the like maybe OGs like who started this shit kind of people are, which of course they inspire me in general because like they paved the way in general. But yeah.
Maybe let's mention at this point, some people also call you their heels moms. You know, and I think that's like really cute, because you have people saying that you are their mentors, right?
I mean, I have to kind of correct you a little bit, because
yes.
Actually there's more generations now, and so actually we're the heels grandmas by now. So
actually,
oh my god.
Okay.
Heels grannies.
So, I'm not that old. I'm still young. I'm 30, so I'm not that old. But there's generations now coming up. So, heels mamas, heels grandmas, your favorite auntie. I don't know. I don't care. But yeah, thank you for saying that. I mean, it's I never imagined, of course, that someone would like say something like this, and it also like holds a lot of responsibility in a way. It's like super fucked up, because it makes me never wanna like go to LA or do something different, because you little kind of like connect, like, how do you say, like you like by calling me a heels mama by calling me a heels mama, you make me never want to leave you, you know. So I know what you're doing. But yeah, it's
a big compliment.
It's a big compliment, and because I also, again, I know like what that feels like. For example, I also call Bryn my mama. So I think I actually love that, because in drag, for example, there's also like mothers. So it's like if we just say name mother,
The House of Power.
it's like I think it's it also is a little bit respect, like it means respect, you know, like saying like who your mother is, like your dance mother or whatever. So I don't know, it's just really cute, and I'm thankful that it's also like not a confirmation, that's not the right word, it's like what's the word I'm looking for?
Maybe that it's rewarding.
It's also not rewarding, it's like, let's just stick with confirmation. It's like a confirmation that I'm
Validation?
doing, it's like whatever it is, it's like that I'm not just being on the surface, you know. I'm also like actually touching people, and most of those people that say that we're the heels mamas, they're actually saying that we changed their life in a way, or like maybe guided them in a certain way. I think that's what has to happen in order for you to call someone your heels mom, you know. Like it has to feel like they really helped you to maybe also do the same thing, or like just to maybe it changed your life because all of a sudden you feel very confident, or maybe you can now use those skills in your life. And of course that's life changing, like, right? That's exactly when it gets life changing, if you're not just doing it in class but also in real life. So yeah, I don't know.
Heels grannies, oh my god. I don't know where that one. No, I also think it's like one of the biggest compliments. And I hope one day you also have kids, like in that way.
Oh, well, who knows?
To be like a granny.
Yes,
No.
of course.
No. But that's like really, I love it. It's like exactly what I also meant. Like you having that sisterhood, it's like a little family. But it's not like a family that's close and you need to be in the group. It's like an open, loving space where you don't need to feel like, or you're not like, oh, I need to fight to be part of that group, you know? And I think that's the energy that you bring.
Yeah.
We're an adoptive family.
Adoptive family, oh my god, yeah.
So,
the patchwork family.
Yeah. Sarah is not actually my real daughter, just to confirm.
The other Sarah. It's like super confusing because our
yeah,
class assistant's name is Sarah, and
Yeah.
she's all
Sarah
Sarah.
Big.
Too many Sarahs here.
house.
Purple Pump's house.
Okay, so let's go to the end of this episode.
Yes, let's wrap it up.
I want to ask you at the end, what do you want to give away, or better said, what is something you want to tell our listeners? Something you want to scream into the world? Something you want to episode the end with? Exactly, to end the episode with, yes.
I guess it's like super simple and basic, but just like sending our gratitude to everyone who's listening or watching, or just in general sending gratitude into the universe, to all of the people that have supported us along the way and that will continue to support us along the way. And yeah, because we don't take it for granted. It's not something like our journey, the way that we do it, it's not like it should never be taken for granted, because literally every day like it could be taken away from you. So super grateful and thankful, and yeah, we just love you guys so much. And I think that's it for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so just a whole bunch of gratitude for all of the queens.
And hopefully, this talk was inspiring as well. It was inspiring to just find out who you are and take it from the twins who used to be like one person. So it's a process, but you can do it. And yeah, shout out to the haters. I don't know. Shout out to the haters.
Love you
maybe,
too. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe they're still watching too. Shout out to you.
Sure, they're watching too. So
thank you to everyone. Everyone who was always on our journey. Everyone who will continue to be in our journey. Everyone is like a puzzle piece and like super important. So yeah.
Thank you guys for coming. I'm really, really happy we did this.
Same too.
Like, I love the energy you just gave me. Guys, I'm flying to Paris like in 4 hours, and I'm flying to Paris with this kind of energy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like,
just gonna be like walking like confidently.
Me having a walk in front
I love
of the
that.
Eiffel Tower.
No, but you also just gave us a lot of energy, because we actually are having a private after this. So it's like I can walk into my private like confidently. So I guess as always it's like an exchange.
Yeah.
So thank you so much as well for sending into the universe like, Julia, Sarah, now you need to do this. It's your time. Yeah. And look at us, almost like 2 hours in.
Oh my god, yes, you're right. Oh my god. Okay, guys. So I'm pretty sure most of the people already Googled you. No, already got your Instagram. But like for everybody that has not yet, do you want to do some advertising, like websites, Instagram?
Yeah.
We're gonna put everything in the bio, obviously.
Yeah.
So
it's for a website. It's powerpumpsdance.com, and same thing for Instagram, powerpumpsdance. Don't know actually why we don't just do Power Pumps. I think it was taken anyways. Power Pumps Dance is where you can find us. Also on TikTok, I think it's the same.
Yeah.
And
I'm probably not gonna say when we teach our classes, because that can change all the time, and I don't know exactly when this will drop, this episode. So
me neither, yeah.
But so I'm not gonna like give like the details. I think it's just best to follow us on Instagram, and you will
for sure,
find out everything there. And
and if you have made it until here, please write us a DM on Instagram and say, "Beach, I made it to the end." Okay.
Oh, that would be
no,
so
if you
know that as well.
If you watch until the end, you have to go back to to any Instagram post on Grenzenlos podcast Instagram for like advertising for our episode, and you have to put or comment Power Pump Girl.
Yes, let's do that.
Power Pump Girl. Period.
Period. You obviously know where to find us, like Grenzenlos __ dein _ Tanzpodcast.
Hey.
Or obviously on YouTube, wherever you're watching this. If you've watched it on YouTube, go listen to it again on Spotify or wherever you like, or go watch the video. And yeah, if you want to support us in any kind of way, if you want to give us a 5-star recommendation on any platform where we are, we would love that. And yes, so thank you guys again for everything, and we're gonna see each other again in, I guess, in 2 weeks. Let's see what the plan for the episode says. Who knows? It's gonna be a surprise.
We're gonna be here though.
Yes.
Prepare to get sick of us. Of all of us.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Thank you.